Chapter 4 Rachel the Balabusta. Sabbath observance poses many challenges for Jews who live in the modern world and walk a tightrope between Jewish observance and secular life. Perhaps 200 or 300 years ago in the shtetls, small Jewish towns, when the community was more insular, it was not so difficult. But today, the marvels of technology are tempting, and living an observant life is not so easy. A way around the prohibition of lighting a fire on Shabbos is to prepare a stew that simmers before the Sabbath begins until it is ready to be eaten on Saturday afternoon or evening. This stew, called cholent, was ambrosia for those who ate with us on a Shabbos afternoon. My mother was famous in the community for her cholent, many ingredients of which came from our garden. In addition to carrots and green vegetables, Ma's cholent consisted of a large stuffed kishke, beef flanken, onions, barley, and plenty of potatoes. This wonderful dish was left to cook on a very low flame for 24 hours. I was the gourmand in my family. Whenever Ma cooked a meal, I'd be in the kitchen tasting everything. On these occasions, she would smile at me and pronounce, "Someday, Theo, you will be a chef on the Queen Mary." Funny that years later, I emigrated from Ireland to America aboard the Queen Mary, and it was on her worthy decks that I enjoyed not cooking, but eating fine kosher meals, though not nearly as delicious as my mother prepared. Well known for her cooking and baking, Ma oversaw all domestic affairs. She was what we call in Jewish a balabusta. She did the laundry herself, even though we had a full-time sleep-in maid, Amy Morley, from Newcastle, England. Amy liked to remind us she hailed from the city you never took cold to. Listen for it. Cary Grant delivers a version of this line in Philadelphia Story. In those days, laundering was not merely the task of sorting and placing clothes in a washer with a cup of detergent. Washing clothes meant scrubbing them by hand on a washboard in the bathtub. They were then brought outside and hung to dry. This was no small task, especially with so many of us to care for. After a long day of cooking and chores, Ma would spend her evenings in the parlour, embroidering on fine Irish linens, while singing along with Da. Like many families in our neighbourhood, we actively tended our fruit and vegetable garden. During World War II, these were called victory gardens. Da started ours soon after we moved to our second house in 1941, which had a large backyard. In addition to lettuce, tomatoes, string beans, peas, radishes, potatoes, and other vegetables, we planted an orchard of apple trees. If you visit, you'll see they bear fruit, even today. One old pear tree bore hundreds of delicious pears each season. Our next-door neighbour, Mr. Gunn, had a friend who owned a canning factory, and that gentleman canned our surplus pears so they lasted well into the next year or two. We also kept chickens. Everyone did. What would Shabbos be without fresh chickens?